bad about something that is going to happen, I almost would bet on it that this will happen while you're writing your book. Something will go terribly awry in your world. Now, I realize that right now you're thinking, Elizabeth, no shit. Like, really? Right. Things have gone a little awry, you think? And this is an obvious example, but I'm going to use a less obvious example. So let's use the pandemic as an example. If you are writing a book about mindset, self-discipline, motivation, any of that sort of thing, and something like a pandemic hits, all of a sudden, in all likelihood, you're going to be like, oh my God, I'm a fraud. Because now I have no motivation, self-discipline, and my spirituality is out the window. And so you'll take this moment and you'll text me or you'll call me or you'll message me and you'll say, I am an imposter, I am a fraud, I now can't write this book because I'm struggling to get through all the things that I'm telling my readers how to get through. Let's take it away from the pandemic completely. And let's say that you are writing a book about, somebody give me a topic. Frank says, my hair is getting long. It's bad. My daughter cut 2 inches off the other day of her own, not mine. I'm not brave enough for that. Let's say that you are writing about, I'm just going to make this one up off the top of my head, how to get through a divorce. And in the midst of writing the book, something happened. You could be long divorced, but something happens within that relationship where you're like, oh my God, I never foresaw this. I didn't know this could happen and I have no idea how to deal with it. And so you're going to call me and you're going to say, Elizabeth, we're screwed. I can't write the book. I'm a fraud. Here is the absolute truth and fact of the matter. Anytime you go to write a book in a powerfully vulnerable way, the universe, and if you don't want to get all universe on it, we can just say life, will test how full of shit you are. In other words, how willing are you to walk your walk and talk your talk? And actually, guys, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. It will not feel beautiful in the moment. I promise. You will be like all 6 shades of, whatever, but it's a beautiful thing. When I was writing Enough, I had this happen. I was writing about having enough and being enough and what to do when I had enough. And during the course of writing the book, I had a couple things happen, as we do, that challenged my own, like, well, Liz, you say you do this. You're advising your readers to do this. Do you really do it? And thank God the answer was yes. And I had to, tweak a little bit and things like that. But it allowed me to write from a much more authentic place. Because there's one thing, it's one thing to think back to how you managed something and how you felt, how your mind felt in the moment about something. It's a whole other thing to have it be right in front of you and have to look at it. But that gives you the opportunity to do 2 things super powerfully. 1, confirm or deny what you remember about the way that you handle the situation and the suggestions that you're giving other people. So are you remembering the feelings properly? Are you remembering the tactics and the approaches properly? And then the other thing is you get to actually prove it to yourself. By going through it. Nobody expects you to be perfect. Nobody expects you to have everything figured out. It is a beautiful thing that people can read your book and then learn that you still have bad days. Gabby Bernstein just launched her latest book, I don't know, maybe 4 months ago. And she wrote, Gabby Bernstein was on Oprah when Oprah had her own show. I mean, she has been a spiritual leader for a long time. And she wrote in her most recent book that 2 years ago, she was at her lowest point. Now, we didn't know because she was smart enough or had some people around her who said, don't go publicize that when you're in the middle of it. Wait till you get to the other side of it, which is exactly what she did. So if you've read Enough, I'll give you a parallel example. I write a story about day 214. Day 214 was the day when I got a text from my bank that said you have $2.14 in your checking account. And I was like, what in the actual hell is going on? I thought they had made an egregious error They had not, I had, and it was the truth. But I wrote about that after a year, 9, 10, 11 months after it happened, not while it was happening. While it was happening, I observed exactly how I handled how it was happening. Because I promise you, if I get a text, I don't think I'm going to, but if I get a text today or tomorrow or next week, I mean, God only knows with this current situation, that says you have $2.14, I know with complete confidence exactly how I'm going to handle it because I've already done it and I paid attention while I was doing it. So I have clients who put their manuscripts on hold for a second. There's nothing wrong with that as long as you don't put your manuscript in a drawer and never pull it out again. So sometimes things happen that you're not anticipating and you're like, I have to wait and see how this plays out. I have to let this story unfold and tell itself before I can authentically write about how to handle it. Because you don't want to write about how you would advise someone to handle it. You want to write about exactly how you did handle it. That's where the power is. And the vulnerability, the powerful vulnerability. So you can put things on hold while you're working that through. I don't know yet that I've worked with a client who hasn't had to put their book on hold for 3, 4, 5 weeks in order to do something like that. Where we end up with an issue, and you're going to have me in your inbox and on your phone, is when that thing is dragging out to like 4, 5, 6 months, because now you're just in full resistance again. So we have to go back to what's actually going on and why are you afraid to tell your story? Your book is up until a point. It's up until a point. So no, you're not saying to people, well, yeah, I know how. I'm 47 years old and I've been through the things I've been through. I'm not telling people, well, listen, when you're 55, here's how you handle retirement, especially since we're in a pandemic and I just lost all my money in the stock market. I don't know how I'm going to address that yet. Like, I'll talk about that in You Cannot Be Serious, the 3rd edition or the 2nd edition or the 5th edition, whatever we're at right now, by that point, when I get there. No one expects me, I hope, to have that figured out right now. And were I to say, well, here's how I would handle it if this happened and this happened, that's not even genuine. It's completely disingenuous. So you don't want to say that. Or year. Well, okay, so Sheila Whittington said, or years, and that's what happens. People put things off for a really, really long time. Please don't. When something happens when you're in the middle of writing your book, look at it as a blessing. Really, because now you get to really thoughtfully go through it and you get to capture exactly what that fear and that pain and that excitement, whatever it is, you get to capture the actual essence of it, not what you remember it feeling like. And you get to really intentionally think through how you're going to handle it because you're going to now advise other people to handle it. So I ask people this, when you put your book aside for too long because you're going through something, especially if you're in the guidance space of any sort, what would you tell your own client or your own friend, forget clients, if they were to do the exact, somebody you love, if they were to do that, what would you tell them? And once you're past the point of, one of my best friends, Aaron, always says, and I love this, I'll give you 24 hours. You can have 24 hours to have a complete pity party, and then we're getting into the solution. And she lives by that. So when I'm talking to people about these sorts of things, the question is, okay, how long would you let someone else sit in the space of, I'm not picking the book back up again because I'm still in the middle of this situation? Like, there are all these things, and this is the part of writing a book that's so fun, is that it will dredge, like literally writing a book will challenge you to become a better version of you with every word that you write. It's almost impossible. It's the most vulnerable and the most growth thing that you can do. Like, it's the most evolutionary and the most vulnerable thing that you can do. If you're writing certainly about your own life and the experiences that you've had. So let me know what questions you might have about that. Right now, I put it up there. I put it right there. So this website, Publish a Profitable Book, this is where my online courses live. Many of us have more time. We have that 30 minutes that we could commit every day. And so if I don't give you a valid reason not to do it, then you don't have a valid reason not to do it. And then you have to really look at, well, why am I really not doing it? Which is what the 33-day book writing bootcamp is all about. It's not just about get the book written. It's 33 days of why aren't you getting the book written? Like, what's the issue? I knew Demetrius just said that out loud. See, I know you. I listen to y'all. But that's the thing. There are so many fears, and I don't even want to get into them today. I'll tell you what we're going to talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be 15. This is incredible. I feel like this is the most episodes I've ever had of anything, people. It's going to be where to start. Because everybody's like, okay, Liz, that's all great. I get it. I'm with you. I'm resonating. You're right. You know, all these things that I love to hear say to me. But like, where do I start? So I'm just going to tell you, like, we're just going to start tomorrow. I'm just going to give you a couple of questions to think about on your own, because we got to tie a bow around why you're doing what you're doing. The days of just releasing a book are over. They're over. They're over. So that's it. Let me know what questions you have, Demetrius. We create our own BS on why we are not doing 100%. So we say it's because of this, it's because of this, and not to be kind of a mean person, but as some people will say, and the person I can think of first is David Goggins, you're either doing it or you're not doing it. So at some point you have to like remove all the BS of, well, you know, times are uncertain. They're always going to be uncertain, people. Times are uncertain. I need to get chickens in the backyard, and I got to figure out where to order those from. And so I can't write my book today. Like some of it at some point, it's irrelevant. You're either doing it or you're not doing it. And if you're not doing it, then why aren't you doing it? And figure out why you aren't doing it and go from there. Like you have to be willing to stop just saying, well, I'm just not ready yet. At some point, you have to be willing to go just one step deeper than why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? Well, what if you did that? Well, what if you did that? Well, what if you did that? Well, what if this happened? What if this happened? What if this happened? You have to take it all the way down till you get to this. Because this is the place from which you write. This is the place from which everything just goes like this. And you stop worrying about what everyone else thinks and what everyone else is going to say. And, are people going to like you? And is your story going to make sense? Is it going to be in order? And all these sorts of things. We have to start up here in order to get down here. So tomorrow, we're going to start up here. Then we're going to get real clear. It's basically the beginning of the 33-day book writing bootcamp. I just made this decision. It's just what's happening. So that's it. It's Monday. Keep doing what you're doing. I love you all. Stay safe, stay healthy, follow the rules, and see y'all tomorrow.